everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Honey Plants, and today's video is going to be one where I talk about my March favorite plants. So it's really very hard for me to choose because this time of the year most of the plants are doing well, but some of them are doing especially well, or they're surprising me with their growth, or I'm just happy that they are coming back. So these are not going to be in any certain order, and I will probably be taking you around to their location, for some of them to their location, because I cannot get them down off the plant shelf right now. So, or I could, but I'm just not going to. So the first plant that I want to talk to you about is this begonia. And so let me try to get it over here to the camera. All right, so this plant is one that I've had for probably maybe 3 years. And every year what I do with this plant is I cut it back. And you can see, let me bring it closer. You can see where I've cut it. I chopped it all the way back to just stems. And I just continue to care for this plant. And it, every year, comes back nicely. So this year, what is different about this plant is how tall it is. Because I did not chop it down to the soil this past, I guess the end of the summer, when it was time to bring it inside the house. I chopped it back to where it had maybe, some of the stems have maybe 12 inches of old growth on them. And so I just recently moved this to my bedroom, where it's kind of the most southern exposure of the house. And it is really taking off. And that room is really a dark room, or not dark, but a warm room also. So this plant is really enjoying the warm temperatures and enjoying the sunnier weather that we have been having. In fact, the sun just came out here. We've been having a lot of rain outside, but as far as it's having more daylight, this plant really has started to show off. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it will do. Underneath the leaves, you can see they have like a burgundy color. And yeah, so this plant is pretty easy, but you just have to remember that when it starts dropping leaves, it just cut it back and it will grow back. It's one of the easier cane begonias that I have worked with in my collection. So that's the first one. Now, for the second plant, I am going to take the camera down and I'm going to walk you over to that area. Another plant on my favorites list for March is the Hoya Vitellana IML 1346. And this plant is on my favorites list because for about a year, it did not produce any new growth. It just stood there like a statue. The leaves are beautiful. They are a lime green color, and they are kind of like cardboard, basically, like really, really hard. So a very interesting plant. But this plant was not growing. And I did transfer this plant to pond. And now it is producing some new leaves. So you can see right there is a new leaf coming. And I think that some of the ends are now activating some of the growth points. Let me see if I can carefully remove this so you can see. So it is in pond, and you can see some of the roots there. And so this plant took the transition well. It has not just instantly started to grow. It still took a while, but I am pleased that this plant is doing much better. and it has made its way to my favorites for March. The next plant that has made it to my favorites list for March is my Hoya latifolia, which it was sold to me as polystacha. It has, in the past couple of weeks, put on 3 new leaves, and they have not hardened off yet. After this plant had been kind of dormant for a while, it's growing a lot of new tendrils. So it has made it to my favorites list. And I think it's enjoying all of the nice light in my kitchen window also. So yep, Hoya latifolia has made it to the list. So another plant that is on my favorites list for the month of March is my Hoya obovata. And this plant is difficult to get off the shelf, so I'm gonna just let it stay here. Olive is trying to be a part of the video today, as usual. So this plant is putting on a lot of new growth, and even on some of the leaves, you can see it has pink splash on it, and it has some new growth here forming. So if I move around to this side of the plant shelf, you can see more of this plant, and hopefully you're able to see. It has some peduncles, and it has some other new growth here. So this is, I could say that this obovata would be in my favorites almost all of the time, but that wouldn't be fair to some of the other plants. But it is a beautiful plant, and it's one of my March favorites. The next plant that is on my favorites list for March, I'll have to be honest with you. I was not going to choose this plant. I love this plant. I love the leaves and how beautiful. But when I was looking, this plant has 2 peduncles on it, 2 umbels, and I just saw them just now as I was checking my plant shelf. Isn't that amazing? So this plant has definitely made it to my March. Olive, what are you doing, girl? She's always trying to be in the video. This plant has made it to my favorites list. And I will definitely post pictures of the flowers when they open all the way up. So it's always very exciting for us Hoya lovers to know that there's some future blooms. So this is Hoya Kalista phyla. Hoya Crinkly 8 has made it to my March favorites list. Look at this beautiful plant. Look at the crinkles in it. For those of you who've seen some of my other videos, you know I've mentioned, I think maybe in my tour, houseplant tour videos, where this plant was one in the video, that this plant has gone through pest issues, and it is multiple years old, but it's just now deciding that it's going to really perform beautifully and grow and have those deep crinkles. And so I'm really happy and proud to say that this plant has made it to my March favorites list. It is easy care. I just water it when the soil seems dry. As my shirt says, has anybody seen my shirt? It says, check the soil, pick up the pot, Feel the leaves, water if you please. And that is my motto when it comes to most of my plants, if not all of them. Of course, if they're too heavy to lift, I can't lift the pot. But you get the idea. That's what I do to try to keep them healthy. And this plant is really showing off and showing its true potential. Now, maybe one day it will give me some surprise peduncles like the Calista has, but for right now, I'm really excited about how beautiful and crinkly these wonderful leaves are. My next plant that I want to talk about is fig, my Fiddy Fig tree. And here it is. You can see that it is up to the ceiling. I did have to, I used some of the green wiring to help this plant to stay up and to draw it in some when it's indoors. Now this plant, it has been with me for maybe 6 years or so. And it does lose leaves when it's in the house. Like, it's not at its best when it's in here, but it's still one of my favorite plants because I know that when it gets outside, it's going to start flourishing more and it's going to be growing and doing its best. This plant has put on new growth. For example, these leaves here, these large leaves are the newest growth on it. And I just have to remember that when this plant is in the house, it needs a lot of water. It needs way more when it's outside, but it still needs a lot of water when it's indoors too, because of the dry heat. So it is one of my favorites. It's not perfect. It has some browning on some of the edges, and you know, plants, I always say they're just like us. They're not perfect, but you know, for anybody who has a Fiddy Fig, you know the challenges that you can go through sometimes with providing enough light and making sure that it has enough water. And this Fiddy Fig has been one of my favorite plants for many years now, and it will continue to be on my favorites list. I think that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for subscribing to my videos and helping my channel to be a success. Please let me know in the comments what type of material you'd like to see. And I guess I will see you around on the next one. Bye.